Welcome. We are trying something new over here at My Budget Coach. We are learning more about our amazing coaches on the platform. So we have Emily Blain today. So glad you took some time to join us. Emily has been a financial coach at Dream Big Financial Coaching since 2019. That's her own business. And she became an accredited financial counselor in 2025. She's got lots of other cool things that she did not submit that she will not talk about yet, but she is a very experienced professional. And so we're just going to kind of kick things off with Emily. Tell me, what led you to become a financial coach in the first place?
That's always such an interesting question because I went to school for music education. So I have a BA in music and a minor in education, which is not quite the same thing as financial coaching. So um, back in 2019, when I started my business, I actually applied for a job at YNAB. You need a budget, except I don't think they call it that anymore, but whatever. And didn't get the job, which is good because I think I would have actually hated it because it was like content creation and education, and the education part sounded great and the content creation sounded terrible. So it's a good thing I didn't get it. But then I was like, I just really want to like tell more people about budgeting and how much fun it can be. And this is where everybody listening goes, what? And all of that. And then I went down the internet rabbit hole like you do and found an article on financial coaching and went, that's a thing. That's amazing. And went to a workshop at UW-Madison. So I'm located in Minnesota. So it was a 3-hour drive. And my sister-in-law lived there. So I stayed with her and went, yes, this confirms that A, I enjoy this, and B, I'm good at it. And here I am, what, 7 years later almost? It was the end
Yeah,
of 2019, so six and a half, but whatever.
that's incredible. I mean, so many people don't realize, like, when I grow up, I can be a financial coach. And
Right.
you learned kind of through that rejection of not getting the job, and you ended up
Hmm.
being, I would argue, even more successful with all of
Yeah.
your own ventures.
Yeah. Certainly enjoying it more than, like I said, I would have enjoyed that job.
Yeah. Okay. So you're coaching people now. So you've shifted. There's obviously some education. I'm sure
Hmm.
there's some content creation that has to come into it when you're a solopreneur. But what would you describe your coaching style? Or, like, this can be super broad. You can take it however you'd like, but how do you coach people? Like, how does one help someone with their budget?
Yeah, I actually had a prospect, so somebody who booked a free call with me to kind of talk and figure out if we were a good fit. Um, Ask me that because it turned out she was looking for a lot of investment advice and like long-term retirement planning, which is not something that I am educated to do or licensed to do and legally can do. So I was like, sorry, I can't help you. And she's like, well, how do I find somebody like you? Because I really like you. But I was like, all right, well, let's see. What is my coaching style? Sort of what is my vibe? And I would say I try to keep things pretty casual and relaxed. There's so much crap around money for most people, a lot of baggage, a lot of emotions, a lot of negative feelings that I, as a generally optimistic, happy person, try to bring that in to be like, hey, you're feeling like crap. So let's keep it relaxed. I'm not here to berate you. I'm not here to tell you how terrible you are. I'm not here to yell at you. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to support you and just sort of be that accountability partner, that cheerleader, that encouraging friend, not necessarily friend, but sometimes friend. There's one couple who I've been working with for 2 years now, I think, where I've said to my husband numerous times, man, I know you have no idea who they are. You don't know their names because obviously I keep that confidential, but man, I wish they lived in our neighborhood because we would go hang out with them all the time. Our kids would be friends. It would be great. But yeah, so I would say I try to keep things supportive and casual and encouraging. And if you're looking for somebody to tell you that you're a stupid idiot and you just need to do better, that's not me. There are other
Got to go
coaches
find
who do that, but
Mr. Ramsey there. He'll tell you
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. But no, I tend to be on the encouraging side of things.
I love that. And it is interesting. So, as a accredited financial counselor, you've got the financial education. Like, you have,
Hmm.
there's a ton of experience. There's an exam that goes with that. Like, you have been vetted to know what you're talking about. So it's not just,
Hmm.
I'm going to sit here and cheer you on as you make these decisions. Like, there's got to be a blend of supporting your clients, but also, like, really offering some valuable financial advice.
Yeah, I was on a really interesting office hours call for coaches. That's generally more life coaches who are there, but it's interesting to talk about, the business side of things. There's some parallels and such. But there was someone who was talking about this whole framework thing that apparently had been on the last call that I wasn't on, but really getting into the difference between coaching and consulting. He was like, most of you here just do like the holding space thing, but that doesn't work for me. Like, I'm telling people the actionable stuff, and he had all the acronyms and everything. And that made me reflect. And I was like, I really kind of do both. Like, it really is. And I think many financial coaches, it really is a blend of like yeah, there's a lot of heaviness here. We need to talk through it. Like, there's going to be some emotions that come up probably, but also like we got to do the practical actionable things. Like, we have like the whole point of why you're getting a coach probably is, I don't know what's going on with my money. Things are stressful. I have debt. I don't know how to handle the income I have coming in. What do I do? Where does it go? That's a lot of practical, actionable things. And so it's kind of great because I was like, huh, I get to do the best of both worlds. Like, be the happy, supportive, person, but also like, yeah, let's do stuff and actually get you to a point where you're feeling better and things just factually are better.
Amazing. Yeah, I agree. It's a really fun balance. And I'm glad you brought up that none of our coaches on my budget coach do investment,
Mm-hmm.
tax planning, retirement planning within our app. Some coaches, which we'll meet later this year, do that on the side, but it is not affiliated with our app at all. So that's really good to know if you're like, is this for me? We're kind of more the nitty gritty, the minutia of day to day budgeting. And that's
Mm-hmm.
such a unique void that is being filled. So, I feel like a lot of our listeners come in overwhelmed. And like you said, I've got this debt, I have these things, and yeah, I want someone who's supportive, but I've got to pay this off, or I have got to send my kids to college, whatever their big goals are. So when someone's overwhelmed and they show up at your virtual doorstep, how do you get started? What is like your first step with someone in that boat?
I usually try to kind of figure out, is what they're overwhelmed about a concrete thing that we can actually like solve today or
Mhm.
work towards solving today? Like, is it, I have this bill that I don't know how to pay. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's figure out some actions. Is it, something big that maybe we can't solve today, but we can take steps like, I have $200,000 in credit card debt. What do I do with it? Cool. Let's start figuring out a plan. We can start making progress towards that. Or is it a general sense of, I don't know what's going on. Like, money comes in, money goes out. I Sometimes there's enough to pay bills, sometimes there's not. Or even, I have some clients who come to me who have no credit card debt. On paper, they're in a good financial position, but they still feel out of control. And so it's sort of trying to figure out what's at the root of that overwhelm. Is it something that we can put the fire out? Is it something that we can start making progress towards putting the fire out? Is it the practical thing? Is it the emotional thing? Just sort of trying to get to the root of that. And making them making sure that they know that they're not the only one feeling this way, that there's a lot of people. I must have at some point had somebody who came in feeling a way or dealing with a thing who I had never dealt with before. But at this point, it takes a lot for somebody to come to me and be like, this is the situation. And for me to go, whoa, I've never had anyone in that situation before dealing with that. I just had a call this morning with someone who was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I meant to update stuff before the call and I've got this and like basically all of my people right now, especially after the holidays, like it's January 8th. Nobody's on top of everything right now. Like, everybody is behind on things. You're not alone. As much as you are a special, unique snowflake, you are not a special, unique snowflake. You are a unique human, and also your situation is not unique. And most people find some comfort in that.
Thank goodness, right? Because
Yeah.
after almost 7 years, I'm going to round up for you in your own practice. Like you have seen things that have worked and things that haven't. You've applied different personalities, different goal setting tactics, and you're able to piece together a super unique plan for them. But knowing that there's nothing too scary. And I think that's a really incredible asset when you have seen as many clients as you have. So if you have a client who shows up and they're like, I've never budgeted. I don't like this. I don't like to budget. I feel like the world is anti-budget right now, but we're leaning into
Yes.
it. So what is one habit? If you had to pick, and this is kind of maybe the hardest question of the day, if you had to pick one simple habit for our listeners to pick up with their budgeting, what would it be?
I think the biggest thing that can make an impact long term is trying to build space between I want the thing, I get the thing, or even I need the thing, I get the thing. But just whether it's checking into your budget, ideally with my budget coach and other softwares in general, you're kind of checking to see where am I at before you go spend. Even if you're not at that point of like, oh, I'm going to look at my budget and see that I have $150 allocated for this, blah, blah. Even if you're not there, see the thing, wait before you buy it. Even if it's 5 minutes, you know, put it in your cart, go do something else, come back to it later. You see it in the store, go, ooh, that's a really cute shirt. I'm going to do the rest of my shopping. If I'm still thinking about the shirt, I'll go back and pick it up on my way to checkout. Not saying you have to leave the store and come back, but even just go get a few more things on your list and then come back around. Add friction where you can. Potentially, some people have success with like removing credit cards from online shopping if that's a thing. You're like, oh my gosh, I shop too much online. Okay, cool. But just that little building a little bit of space can make a really big difference. I know it does for me. Of put thing in the
Yeah,
cart, come back to and be like, that's not that cute. Why did I think I wanted that? Yeah. And
I
then you don't have to
love
worry
that.
about it with returns. Because if it shows up and then you go, oh, it's not that cute. Why did I want that? Then you have to go through the hassle of getting it back, or you're just out the money. And yeah,
Yeah, and if you're busy, which I think most people in the world are incredibly busy, you may not have time to be running all those extra errands, and you may
yep.
just lose that amount of money. So you mentioned some really great tips there. And another thing I'll hear often is like, well, I've tried it before and I don't like to be restricted. A
Mm-hmm.
budget is just I can't stick within a $500 a month grocery bill, whatever it may be. So kind of combating that idea. How do you help clients who want to cut back maybe change their behaviors but not feel too restricted?
I think personally, I have found that my budget is allows me to spend money without feeling guilty more than it restricts me. Recently, I guess at this point it was probably a couple months to a year ago, but whatever, relatively recently, our blender broke, which is not something that I used very often, but it broke. Normally, I would have, or pre-budgeting, I guess, I would have just gone on Amazon, found something for 30 to 40 bucks that had good reviews and ordered that. Instead, I checked our budget categories, went, oh, we've got like 300 bucks that I could justifiably use for the blender. Went to Consumer Reports, which we get for free through our library, searched through
Ooh.
blenders, found one for like $180 that had really good reviews. And oh my gosh, I did not realize the difference that this blender would make. Like I make smoothies so much more often because it's so easy and it actually like grinds the frozen fruit efficiently. Like I was not a blender person and now I'm apparently a blender person. I would not have spent that $180 on this much better blender that has probably helped my health because I drink smoothies more often and up my fruit intake if I hadn't seen that money in the budget waiting to be spent. Does that mean that there are other places where I don't spend money? Yes. However, if you flip the mindset around from, oh, I can't spend money on this to, I'm choosing not to spend money on this so that I can spend money on that, like, even if it's as not fun as I'm choosing to not buy clothes so that I can pay my rent, like, that's boring. But also,
Yeah.
isn't it cool that you get to pay rent and you don't have to, you can afford it? Like, wouldn't that be a good feeling to be like, oh, yeah, I can pay rent. I don't have to stress out about it. Or, oh, yeah, my 6 month car insurance bill is due, but I've got the money sitting there waiting to be used. I am choosing to not spend money on this so that I'm not stressed about paying my bills. Like, just the little mindset changes that sound a little woo woo, but also they do make a difference.
Yeah, and the control, the
Mm-hmm.
amount of choices that you unlock seems like it's worth the temporary frustration of learning a new skill, learning a new tool.
Mm-hmm.
Budgeting can be really tricky because it can be a tool like our app or any other softwares, or even a spreadsheet can have a
Mm-hmm.
learning curve. plus the, oh my gosh, was this really my financial situation? Plus the emotion. Like it's never just one thing.
No.
So as we kind of integrate coaching into the app to offer that accountability and hand holding, if someone's like, I really think this is for me in 2026, I want to work with someone and partner with them to improve my finances, what is something that you would tell them before they started budget coaching?
I would say, kind of harkening back to what I said a few minutes ago, take comfort in the fact that your situation is not unique. There's a good chance that your coach has worked with somebody in a similar situation before. And I would also say, don't apologize for sharing a lot of information. I cannot tell you the number of people, I'm sure you know too, with all of your clients, who on our first call just like dump all of their financial information out. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for telling you so much. I'm like, literally, you are making my job easier. Like, tell me all the things. The more I know, the less likely it is that you're going to hit me with a dump truck 3 sessions in that goes, cool, everything we just talked about is now upended because we were doing all this planning and now you just told me that you're moving in a week. Would have been great to know 2 months ago. So there, at least from my perspective, you can't really overshare your financial information with your coach. So word vomiting is okay. We're used to it. This is not something that most people talk about very often. And so if you get on the call with your coach and you're like, oh my gosh, it feels good to just let it all out and just share all of this information and talk about how stressed you are about things and talk about how much debt you have or how worried you are about affording this expense or about how much you fight with your spouse every month about, like, it's okay. Your coach is here to listen. Your coach is here to help you work through things, figure out what's right for you in your life. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's confidential, right? Like we,
Hmm.
especially with the AFC credential, you sign a code
Yeah.
of ethics. You abide by their policies. At my budget coach, we believe in keeping everything confidential, and so there's a layer of protection there. Kind of like therapy. We are not therapists, but you can
Right.
go in and you can say the most unhinged things, and your coach is probably not going to flinch, or at least I know I can't get Emily to flinch. And this is a little lightning round question just to kind of wrap
Okay.
up, because believe it or not, our time is almost up here. What is the, and this is not on your question list, by the way, Emily, but
Ooh,
I want to
all right.
know, what has your budget allowed you to purchase recently that is just like really fun or different? And I'm kind of pulling from a social media post that you wrote not that long ago, but what has your budget allowed you to buy that is like the coolest thing that we can learn about you?
Well, I would say that I dyed my hair for the first time. People are like, "Oh yeah, what did you use to do?" I'm like, professionally, last August, and redid it again in December. You can see I've got sort of
Ooh, yes.
purpley
Look at
red tights
that.
going on there, which has just been really fun. It completely confused my parents because no one in my family has ever dyed their hair at all, let alone I did purple and blue highlights in August and purple now. And my mom was like, but why? Not like, why did you do it? But she was just so confused. Um, so I would say that's one thing because it's not cheap to dye your hair professionally, but it's been very fun. I was joking with a friend. I was like, I spend so much time in front of the mirror, like right after I did it in August, just playing with the fun colors.
Yeah.
But I'd say that kind of thing. Just you're like, hey, this is a thing that I want to do that will make me happy, that I have money set aside that I could spend on it. So I'm going to do it.
I love that because it doesn't have to be like, oh, I invested in something for my business or something for
Hmm.
the household. Like that is just something totally and purely for you. And you got to spend guilt free
Hmm.
because you've worked so hard to set up your budget and stick to it.
Hmm.
So those are the types of things that you're interested in as you listen in. Emily is available. She's got um, plenty of openings. I'm just putting this out there without having asked Emily. She would love to work with you. My budget coach offers a really great way to connect. So you can have the app as well as one meeting per month with our subscription. And you can always add more if Emily decides that you guys need to work together more intensely. So we're going to be sharing this across the platforms. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing all these cool things. I learned some stuff. I'm gonna go take a look at some blenders and see which one that you got because I need to know that. But other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you guys for joining.
Bye, everybody.